Well, councillors, I bring our meeting to order and welcome everyone to this our extraordinary meeting on the 31st of February. And I'll start our meeting with a webcast of our meeting. The meeting will be recorded for placement on the council's website for the purpose of broadening knowledge and participation in council issues and demonstrating council's commitment to openness and accountability. All speakers must ensure their comments are relevant to the issue at hand and refrain from making personal comments or criticism or mentioning any private information. No other persons are permitted to record the meeting unless specifically authorised by council to do so. Our opening prayer, we give thanks for the contribution by pioneers, early settlers, and for those who fought the various wars to the fabric of Kennedale community we have today. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be accepted by sight, O Lord. Amen. Acknowledging the country, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land who are meeting on today. We also like to pay respect for elders past, present and emerging of the Yucca, Kamilaroi and Bundjalung nations and extend that respect to other Aboriginal people. Council, with our apologies, we do have an apology from Councillor Don Forbes. Can I have a move in a second to accept that, please? Councillor Michael Petrie, second by Councillor Greg Sawyer. Thank you. All in favour? Ken, Barry. No disclosures of interest, councillors. The business of the meeting, the Australian Inland's item GOB 42/21. Do with our operational plan 221, 222. Can I have a move in a second to move this item, please? Councillor Tom Peters, I thank you. Second, please. Councillor Ryan Murray, I thank you. And I'll hand over to our Chief Officer to
Thank you. I'll hand over to Director.
Okay, I'll ask the button again. Welcome, Meredith. And welcome to you too, Jess.
Mayor, through you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this report is for council to adopt Tenfield Shire Council Operational Plan 2021-22 following the completion of the public exhibition period, which took place from 28 April to 2021 to 25 May 2021. And for the operational plan to be included within the current Tenfield Shire Council Delivery Program 2017-2021. I will just type over that summary, and then we connect to 2021-22. Council placed the draft operational plan, including the budget, revenue policy statement, FPs and charges for 2021-2022 on public exhibition from 28 April 2021 to 25 May 2021. One community comment was received in total as a submission, and council's response is listed below. The submission was from a resident of the Liston area and advised that the Liston Reserve Trust organising to replace shade sales in Liston Park were already undertaking this program and requested that the operational plan allocation of $17,000 for the replacement of the shade sales be reallocated to something else. The proposed expenditure will be reviewed in the preparation of the 2022-2023 budget. The draft operational plan, the operational plan 2021-2022 includes council's detailed annual budget along with council's statement of revenue policy, which includes the proposed rates, fees and charges for the financial year 2021-22. And I'll now open it up for questions.
Questions, Eric, or any other staff to do with their operational plan, council? Go to you, Councillor Bronwyn, for your comment, and then you, Councillor Cromwell.
Just I'm pleased we've now got full parts in our budget. Where the revenue Dr. Monson sat over at the shoulder, and when it was reported, a bit of pink paint was running around it, and that was it. It's now been fixed, thank goodness. But you know, we've got people struggling, and the other thing I've already just checked with Paul. I just want to query in our total expenditure where wages sat that they are within the, because they're not in a capital list. But
I'm sorry, Councillor, where what was that?
Where the wages are added in, but
wages.
they're not as a separate item, but it's in total. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Berry, I'll go to you.
3 questions, Mr. Mayor.
I'll allow that, Councillor.
Thank you. First one, photocopying. It says in the back of the fees and charges 45 cents. Now, I presume that is the cost of what it costs council to photocopy them. Yet with our own, some of our own workshops, we get 10 or so sheets of paper. Now, actually, the colour was $3.40 and they're in colour. And you get 20 words on them. I mean, the whole lot could have been condensed on one sheet of paper or sent to our iPad. To me, that is a waste of money.
We'll deal with each question at a time, councillor.
That's the first question.
So if you want to just repeat the question.
Yes, the question is, photocopying was $3.40, I presume, for a colour sheet both sides. And I presume that is what it costs council to do these things. So if council copies a sheet of paper for a workshop, it's still going to cost us $3.40.
Oh, it will cost X amount of dollars.
Yes, that's right. And so I think we should be looking at.
So you're saying do over paper copies and go electronically, is that what you're?
Well, I'm saying there, we should be looking at that because $3.40 and we get 10 copies each. So it's $34 and you buy 10, $340, whatever it comes to. So, it's a waste of money. They should be either electronically done or the whole lot of the workshop could have been on one sheet of paper. That's what I'm saying.
Very good wastage on like that.
That's the first
We'll take
question.
it on board, councillor, thank you.
Next question, councillor.
Second one is Wilson Downfall Cemetery. If we get that cemetery cleaned up, as in the operational plan, will I be able to be buried there? Not only me, but I've had that question about it. So I've got to be dead first.
Urgent or not?
Okay, so, through you, Mr. Mayor, you can actually request to be buried in the rural cemeteries that are managed by council, and the Planning and Development Services section manage those requests. So there is a little bit of paperwork to go through, but it is done on a reasonably regular basis that people that are attached to an area in the Shire request to be buried back in the family plot, those types of things. So you can actually do that, yes.
That's good, thank you. The last one, you answered it pretty well, Eric. It was the Liston CWA part with the funding, as they've stated, they've got the funding. So that'll just be carried over and wiped out next budget if they get it.
Wouldn't necessarily be white, councillor.
So, as mentioned in the response, we'll revisit that as part of the 2022-23 budget, and what that might be reallocated to something else.
So the funding will still remain on the books, but it could be
It
reallocated.
will be for this year because it's included in there, but as I said, we'll revisit it as part of the 2022-23 budget. If the works gets done by some other funding method, then we'll look at what we do with that.
Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor Sawyer, you're indicated.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. It's not a question, it's probably background to stuff that I've asked the previous minister when we drawing up the budget, etc. I have had discussions with the acting CEO about my concerns. I had 4, maybe 5 people approach me about the high cost of taking things like garbage bags and trailer loads and whatever to the tip, transfer station. And here we are increasing them again, and they were complaining about the last ones. But in the absence of any of them making it sufficient that they said they were going to, I'm not going to take it further to delay this. But what I'd like to request is moving forward for the next one, you don't appear to have any capturing mechanism of how many people do go up with a particular style of load. We'll put away Richie, that's over the top, but in the tally stick each day, we had 3 trailer loads, a couple of boot loads, so that we can see how many people are actually utilising that service. Because those people that complained about the current cost, said they won't be going back to take those loads up. So we're projecting that we're going to get X income, when we're probably going to get Y because people are not using the service. So it's false economy to keep bumping it up every year and getting less return. So I would like the actual figures for next year's budget, assuming that we're back as a group again, but for whoever's doing it next time, to actually have some actual data to rely on to come up with these charges.
And it's a very good point, councillor. I'll just ask through you, Cole, or any of the staff. So obviously, we don't do that data at the moment, and the other question is, I mean, is it that hard to do? Because I think it's a big point, actually.
So through Mr. Mayor, we actually do, so I did some reconnaissance after talking to the Deputy Mayor. We actually do have that sheet, it's the breadth of the sheet that's required. So they're broken up in each of the different categories, but as of course we change those categories, the forecasting is difficult because we're not sure, you know, it's not apples with apples, there's oranges in one year's, pears in the other. So I can tell you how many, you know, year to date are in the under 80 litres sort of category, how many are in the 80 to 120, I think it is from memory. So I've actually got that data, it's the forecasting, and what I have seen in there at this point in time, which I'd like to go and verify, is the fact that it is actually increasing. So there hasn't been a drop off in terms of the comfort with the forecasting, I guess, of the income that you're going to get. We haven't actually seen a drop off from those figures. So I'll get Gillian perhaps to give us a bit of a run through in terms of waste trends or something like that as well, so we can have a look at how that's coming in, and as more transfer stations come online, we'll actually get a better understanding volumetrically of the waste that we're collecting for both on the villages as well as.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor Murray, then I'll go to you, councillor Michael Baker.
Could I ask a question on that particular subject, the dumping of garbage, illegal dumping of garbage? Do we have a breakdown of how much it actually costs to clean up?
Right now, Mr. Cooper does actually keep a record of that on his timesheets and the like. So when we actually go and collect rubbish to abandoned cars and the like, that is reported by the staff who are undertaking that activity.
What I'm asking is the cost right we're running the profit? Is it costing more to clean up the garbage? I happen to live up in Mount Mackenzie, which is a very favourite dumping area. And everybody that I can see loads and loads of garbage being dumped there, mostly bags actually. Mattresses, etc., etc. Someone must clean it up because it disappears. There's a cost involved, obviously. So the question is, does the cost of run the profit?
I'll have to take that one on notice, but that's what I was going to say. I think we have that conversation about waste management, how much we're actually collecting, because obviously we've got various programs to encourage people to actually minimise the waste that we're generating as well. So it's a bit of a holistic look at that.
Thank you, councillor Michael Baker.
I just have one question. I put in a works request there a while back to have a look at those, get those steps done in Brookston Park. I wonder, has there ever been any money allocated to fix those steps? Is that any like that go in the budget to?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there's nothing in the budget for it. Go. We can also look at grants and things like that. And so I suggest that that's something that we consider as grants come up during the year to look at fixing that up.
I thought the engineer was having a look at what they might have been able to do with those steps, but every time I mentioned it, they said there's no money around. And I think it needs something to be done before somebody breaks their neck down there. I think I put in I think it was in January 2019, and still like the same. Nothing's been done.
John Martin, I requested it in September 2016.
Councillor Walker, question to the report?
Just a further comment, Mr. Mayor, if I may, to what Councillor Mike Peter was talking about. Those steps do come up at the Disability Access Committee on I'd say a semi-regular basis, and I know Harry is aware of it, so I know it's on the radar. But so funds do need to be allocated. That's all in the budget. Thank you.
Councillor Tom Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to mention something of the steel heap at Sandy Flat. There's another one out at Scrub Road or somewhere. Right, the Rural Fire Service look after it, but that's becoming a dump. And people dumping mattresses, all sorts of stuff in it now. Of course, the charges of the waste that transfer station in town, they've got to get rid of their rubbish somewhere, but they don't want to pay for it. As you remember, once before, a few years ago, it was completely free the dump. There's no charges attached to it. All of a sudden, we started getting charges, and now that's more and more. So I don't know what we're going to do about it. Keep changing them up.
So, councillor, you're referring, I'm sorry, you're referring to all the councillors are aware at Sandy Flat and at Timbara, his ex-councillor, the RFS, to the credit, they have a bit of a steal done, which is a fundraiser for them. So that's what you're referring to, councillor.
Yeah, it was.
And what you're saying is being misused and lounge chairs and mattresses all of a sudden turning up.
Absolutely, but I mean, they're dumping fridges and all that sort of stuff up there because it costs $150 to de-gas it. They're supposed to be de-gas. They're not, they just chuck them out there because it doesn't cost them anything. That's something we need to look at, I feel.
Paul?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just to comment on the illegal dumping. I was having a chat with the ranger the other week, and he mentioned that he had come across some illegal dumping, and he'd gone through the rubbish and found personal details of the people who had actually done it. He went and visited them, and it turns out, yes, they had. So obviously they got a fine. So, you know, we are onto it and we are looking at this.
Thank you, Paul.
I'd just like to make a comment,
Councillor?
make a comment on this dumping. I was down at Brooms Head last week down there in McLean and Brooms Head, they've all got their junk out the front and the council go and clean it all up, all their mattresses and push bikes and all the rubbish and vacuum cleaners.
Out in front of the residents.
Put it out the front and the side of the road and they go, the council goes and picks it up.
There is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle as our acting CEO, there is like 1 or 2 times a year where council do something, isn't there?
We don't do that.
We don't.
don't make it provision.
It's been brought,
They do it down there.
Yeah, I brought it up plenty of times.
yeah, it's been brought to council before.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a sort of nationwide. It's not.
We're one of the few that don't do it.
Okay.
Andre took a strong stand against any measure we introduced to try and get it.
And there's a name, there's a phrase for two.
Hard rubbish.
Huh?
Hard rubbish.
That's it, there you go.
So go and collect. So there's probably no real issue with hard rubbish day. There's 2 problems that occur when you have it, which is the items on the footpath for an extended period of time and how that looks. And obviously 2 people going around and collecting other people's rubbish. Some people call that recycling, other people have a bit of an issue with that. So hard rubbish day, obviously it does cost us money. So you need to set aside that allocation in your expenditure under waste to take up that hard rubbish.
I think it's what's looking at.
Councillor Berry, then I'll go back to you, Councillor Roberts.
Oh, I was going to move an amendment, Mr Mayor, but so I'll leave that till last.
Right, to do with the report?
Yep.
Councillor Roberts.
I was just going to say with that rubbish day.
Yeah.
If we do it, we have to do it in a very short period of time, because I was going to have to do draft and the rubbish has been on the side of the road for at least 20 days, which is not acceptable. But if it's there for a couple of days, that's fine, and it helps resolve this other issue.
I thought it was over a weekend, but it doesn't matter. I have seen it, though.
When Bob and Gary and I were down the other day, it was still there, and had been down there, been there the Monday week before it. So longer.
Well, Councillor Berry, later on.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, I was going to recommend that we delete item 19 and replace it with 1 hard rubbish week a year.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter what they do.
From acting CEO, order please.
More than happy if we could put in there that to request staff to investigate the cost of hard rubbish and make future agreements if required. We don't have the costing to tell you what that would actually cost within the year on a sense. Happy to look at it, as I said, as an amendment in the future, to our services, but at this point in time, I can't tell you what that is.
Councillor Berry, happy with that report?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
I'm pleased that that's in and it's quite black and white, what the value of it is, which is good. Councillor Bronwyn?
No, I was just going to say that only assists urban people, doesn't do anything for people in the village. No, or urban in the villages or the town, but it's of no use to people out in.
Just a question for my chair to you, or advice, with 20, that we borrow the 5,904,000. Are we, is that proposal, or are we in the process of that now, because 21 comes to? I apologise for my ignorance, it's just a clarity, that's all.
It's a proposal.
Right, okay. So the 3,300,000 is for another cell, right? And obviously our Transport Network Capital Works is just a forward. Okay. Any other questions, councillor? Councillor McNish?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor,
Apologise.
Paul, put that,
Councillor McNish, I'm sorry. I apologise. I thought the councillor was happy with your reply. So you're still doing this amendment, councillor?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I apologise, councillor McNish, and I apologise, councillor Berry. So what are we doing with the amendment with 19? What was your proposal?
I say, remove 19 altogether and replace it with investigate the cost of hard rubbish collection in Tenterfield. But this would have to be done next year, it could be done this year.
Right.
So
So you're proposing to take the three waste vouchers out?
out altogether, that would cover the cost of your hard rubbish collection.
Gonna do that. Gonna for 3 vouchers.
Do I have a second? Is that you happy with the reading of with the spelling of, start again, please. You happy with how the amendments put together there, councillor?
Yes, Mr.
With the word?
Yes.
Right, so. Do we have a second for the amendment? There's no second for the amendment falls, councillor.
That's all right.
line idea, Gary, but that was gonna create more problems than we got now.
Well, I mean, your council should really explain to people what it's costing them for free. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Councillor, I'll bring the meeting back to a closed debate. So it isn't councillor Berry's put up an amendment has been lost, we'll have to second it. Move on. Any other questions to our staff councillors to do with the report? Councillor Bob, yes?
Well, am I able to propose an amendment as well?
Well, in fairness, councillor, of course you are.
Well, in fairness to councillor Berry, I understood it.
Is this still to do with number 19?
Well, you could add it as a separate number if you like, but it's to leave 19 as is, but add the inclusion of a hard rubbish day.
With the bottom sentence, investigate the cost of a hard rubbish collection in Tenterfield.
Yeah.
As a separate line item.
Yes.
So we'll make it 22, page 23.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's fine. 23.
Right. Righto. So councillor Reagan's moved that an amendment that we make another line item being 23.
Because of the change that would have been, okay.
The definition is to investigate the cost of the hard rubbish collection annually in Tenterfield.
Yes.
Do I have a second for that amendment? Councillor Sawyer. Righto. Councillor Berry, do you wish to speak? Councillor Reagan, do you wish to speak to the amendment?
Mr. Mayor, maybe it could include the villages as well. So all sort of built up areas within the Shire. Investigation of hard rubbish collections in the yeah, okay.
Get rid of leave 19 as is.
They just take it, that's right.
Just second councillor Sawyer, happy with the villages in there? Okay. Councillor Sawyer, in the second, you wish to speak to the amendment? Any speakers against the amendment?
Mr. Mayor, can I make a comment here?
To do with the amendment, councillor?
Yes and no, yes.
Well, we need to be direct and sincere in what we're dealing with, but
When we talk dates, are we talking calendar dates or are we talking financial years?
it's a fair question.
Financial year,
Financial years?
because we can't deal with it.
Well, it's to do with that finance.
Right, thank you.
Correct, Paul?
Correct.
Councillor Berry,
Mr. Mayor, I wish
to do with the amendment?
yeah, I want to speak against it.
Right.
I reckon we took out number 19. That was what I'm speaking against. The number 19, we're just borrowing $3 million to do our dump. We're talking about putting a rate rise up. Now, I cannot see any point in taking 19 out of that. We should be scrapping number 19 altogether.
Well, councillor, councillor, in fairness, you moved an amendment along those lines, and the amendment wasn't supported.
Yes, but I'm talking about this one.
Well, this one is just to do an investigation on hard rubbish collection in Tenterfield and villages. And I I would think, correct me if I'm wrong, councillor Reagan, investigation meaning what the cost would be, how it work, how much staff time, all that.
Yes, Mr Mayor, absolutely, and because it could pan out to be cost effective, if it has the potential to alleviate a lot of this illegal dumping, so that's why I've brought that forward, Mr.
Okay. I'll take that as your closing comment, councillor. You happy with that to deal with the amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Right, we'll put the amendment, which will be 23, all in favour? Against? Carried. Councillors, any other questions to start to do with the report? Councillor McNish, I apologise.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just on number 20, there's about 3.3 million for waste management fund of the night. I know there's fees and charges and fines and EPA and all that sort of stuff. That's an awful lot of money in the bigger hole. If you're having to justify that much money for, it just seems, yeah.
Through you, Mr Mayor, this was the advice from the manager of wastewater and sewer, and that's the advice we received.
It just tends to,
And sorry, it has come down from what it was originally going to, significantly, so.
Councillor, if I can add, I totally agree, but in the world we live in, with our staff, that's come back now, all that, not just a hole in the ground, I mean, it is, it has to be lined, and, am I correct?
Correct.
There's a lot more than just digging a hole.
I realise that,
Yeah.
but it still seems like an awful lot of money.
I agree.
It's basically a whole bloody ground.
I agree.
It's like everything council seems to do, it seems like 40,000 for a roof at Steinbrook Hall. Now, if that was your house, you'd probably do it for like 6,000. Everything just seems to be so much nearer when council does it to when what is normal. And
Without getting into the depths of this today, I apologise, Councillor McNish, just to do with what we're talking about.
yeah, well,
Paul,
okay.
it's not fair on you because I know you're not the engineering department, but when we're looking at that, and that adds to this conversation, councillor, is that council doing this work or is it contract to dig the hole?
Probably mainly contractors, but
Right.
they really have to talk to the manager of wastewater and sewer to get more information on it.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, council has lots of regulations we need to follow and so.
EPA,
And
God bless them.
your comments to the cost.
Green.
Certainly, stuff due to ourselves in our homes, but when we have to follow regulations, rules and so on, it needs to be done, you know, properly.
If I could,
Oh, just to be fair, Councillor McNish,
I think I've made the point, Mr Mayor.
no, you have, it's quite clear, and I totally agree. I do. Can I just throw in, this is why, if we ever get it up and running again, and the EPA in New South Wales actually speaking positive, not negative, this is why that waste to energy gig is so important to keep us on. Exactly, I'd like to get that money put into a waste to energy plan. Anyway. My personal view. Now, who was next? Better keep rolling on. I'll go to you, Councillor Brown, and back to you, Councillor Barrow.
Thank you.
Councillor Brown,
Just further to what Councillor McNish has said, would we be able to get a breakdown of the proposed cost of what we're borrowing money for? So that we know what the component cost, the estimated component cost is, so we can, if it, you know, and that way we can also raise out the community, you know, what that 3 point whatever actually covers. The other thing with the rubbish increase, other items in here didn't increase, some of the development costs didn't increase, hiring of marquees and all sorts of other things, there was no increase at all. Is that rubbish increase to actually cover the cost of operation, or is it, I remember at our workshop, our manager of waste said that with something she added a 30% for future fund kind of stuff. So is that increase to put that padding in, or is it to actually cover operational costs? And the final thing is with the breakdown of this loan money, I would like in our expenditure stuff where we get in our operational plan section budgets with source of funds, use of funds, it just says total operating expenditure. But I would actually like to have provided to us a breakdown of the total operating expenditure, not just a single line item total, but what that is. So we've got capital expenditure and operating expenditure, so we can get a breakdown at some stage. of what the operating expenditures actually are within each department. Thank you. That's my comment.
You want to reply?
So I was going to say, the very first one is that this is the borrowing amounts. Council will obviously review any tenders or proposed contracts that will be entered into. So then you'll actually see a complete breakdown of what we're proposing to spend, obviously the costs associated with that. In terms of waste, the budget or how it's set up is more so for conciseness, so that people can actually read the cost per service. But as I said, all of those you do get on those capital works, but I'm sure Jenny can give you an overview of all the items that are included in.
Councillor Murray?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. This is merely a comment. The compliances with these are very, very stringent, that's my understanding. To do with the, Paul was talking previously.
Yep.
The cost that's involved. So the other thing, if I may, is that I've taken to council before, how long before you can open these pits again and reuse? Twice like this is the situation, and twice I've had no reply. No one knows.
Fair question.
Probably never.
Well, I think about, anyway, not this long, she should have been enough, but if the people that made a good answer that today, it's going to be taken on notice, Councillor. Okay,
Question mark, and the second, it's actually,
yeah, it's Councillor Thorpe, so I'm sorry.
You're right.
Okay, councillors, if no more questions to do with the operational plan, all in favour? Against? Carried. That's our business for the next 40 meetings today, and with that, I'll close the meeting, please send it to Peace and Harmony. Thank you very much.